I've made it clear who I want as the next head coach for BC basketball, but I have two off the radar names that you need to know who could really do a good job fixing the problems at Boston College.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I've been covering Boston College for over a decade. If you're looking for Boston College news, analysis, and details on your Eagles, you are in the right place. Locked On Boston College is a free daily Boston College podcast available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even more bigger potential with wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get yourself started. On today's show, it's our post Earl Grant firing episode where we're going to talk about some outside the box coaches that could really hit a lot of the boxes that BC needs. I'm going to explain who those are, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I think this BC legend is not a great fit for BC's head coaching job, and I'm not even sure he's interested in it. We'll talk about who that is in our final segment. Now, BC on Sunday fired Earl Grant after 5 seasons. Credit to Blake James for doing the right thing because, yes, Earl Grant was a nice guy. Yes, he seemed to have a lot of respect from the players, but this program was going nowhere. This program was not progressing. As much as he wanted to say they were taking a step forward, there was no signs that they were. It seemed like the same thing every single year. Now that he's gone, Blake James has his opportunity, I believe, for his first basketball hire since his time in Maine. And now he gets a chance to really put his stamp on the basketball program like he did with football with Bill O'Brien. This is a big opportunity for Boston College to get their basketball program from the gutter and back into respectability. They have failed miserably on their last 3 hires, and they cannot afford a fourth. They need to hit a home run here. They need to do a good job. And in order to do that, they're going to have to spend money. And they need to spend more than they have been. Because if you're going to spend when you're a bad program, when you're a program that isn't all that attractive, the better coaches are not going to come to your school. They know that you could be career suicide, that you're not a desirable reputation. You don't have a desirable destination. So to fix that, you have to spend a little extra. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck with Earl Grant or Jim Christian or some coach I'm never going to talk about in the next 2 weeks because BC struck out on everybody else. So you need to spend a little bit. But this is a hire that is of utmost importance. BC basketball has not been relevant since the days of Jared Dudley, Craig Smith, Tyrese Rice, and Lewis Hinnett. So who could get BC out of this doldrums? There's a few things I think you should be looking for when it comes to a coach. A proven winner. Someone who has done more with less. Someone from the area that has some connections. Doesn't have to be the most, but has some. And someone that you can afford. For instance, people keep bringing up, and I keep seeing it, Bruce Pearl. Let's be realistic. Bruce Pearl is never coming to Boston College. The amount of money he's going to request is way beyond what BC will pay. He's not a realistic option. Okay? A name that I wanted to tell you about is a sleeper pick. Now, a sleeper is a name that you just don't know much about, but maybe someone that BC is looking at. And he's a name that has come up a little bit. And I'm interested to hear more about him and to see what he does because this coach has won quite a bit. He's from the area. He coaches in the Patriot League, and this is Matt Langel. Matt Langel is the head coach at Colgate. He's been there since 2011. He was an assistant at Temple and Penn before that. He's 48 years old from Morristown, New Jersey. And I look at what Colgate has done since 2018. He took a little while to get things going. 2018 actually, I could say 2017. He makes the CBI. 2018, they make the tournament. 2019, postseason canceled. 2020, make the tournament. 2021, make the tournament. 2022, make the tournament. 2023, make the tournament. Last year, third. This year, second. So we don't even know if they made the tournament this year yet. But like, look at that. There's a guy who wins, right? That hits that box. The big issue I had with Jim Christian was you pulled up his list, and yeah, he made a tournament here and there, but he was not a consistent winner at all. You looked at his um win losses, and he was right around 500. That is not what you need. You cannot bring in a guy in and say, "Oh, that 1 year he made the tournament." That's not going to do it. This guy, Matt Langel, has made the tournament 7 times in the last 10 years. That's winning right there. And he's doing it at Colgate. Tell me Colgate is not I know it's a Patriot League, so who knows anything about any Patriot League team, but Colgate is not a team that is a program that is historically all that good. So he hits a lot of those boxes. This is why I say he's a sleeper pick, because what happens if Joe Gallo, who I've said on yesterday's show, is my pick to be the next head coach? What if he ends up at Providence? What if he's not interested in BC? That is a potential with every coach we talk about, right? BC again is not a high desirability score here. A guy like Gallo may say, "Nah, I don't want to do it." What about a guy like Matt Langel? That could be your sleeper pick. Maybe he'll come here. He's from, he's coaching in New York right now. He's won the Patriot League tournament 5 times, regular season 5 times, and coach of the year in the Patriot League 5 times. So again, the pedigree is there. I was just looking up. They're not going to make the tournament this year. They just lost to Lehigh in the Patriot League tournament, so they're going to go to probably a small tournament. But looking at their offense, averaging 78 points, 77 points per game, 183rd in the country. Listen, you got to walk before you can crawl. Yeah, I would love to see a better offense in every sense, but it's BC was like 350th this year, so that's a huge improvement. Defense isn't all that bad. They allow 74.6 points per game. They got a guy, again, if you're looking for someone to come in, you have Jalen Cox, their guard, who's averaging 18 points per game, and I believe can shoot the 3. He is shooting 38% from 3-point range. So there you go. Bring talent with you. That's something I'm going to be looking for, right? And some of these coaches, you're not going to get that. Jay Laranga, Jared Dudley, some of these coaches that you may think of that are assistants may not be able to bring guys with them, but that's important. Like I said with Joe Gallo, bringing that MAC Player of the Year with you, Kavere Kennedy would be awesome, and so Jalen Cox from Colgate would also be awesome. So see what I mean here? Like, this is a sleeper pick. It's not a name that's super out there. I think he's very well regarded by coaches, but he's won a ton, and that's what we're looking for here. Someone who has consistently won. So Matt Langel, there's your coach. There's my sleeper pick. Now let's go outside the box next. I'm going to go to the Ivy League and talk about a coach I think could be a fit, and it's not Tommy Hamaker. I'll tell you who it is in just a moment. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. You use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can take part live in a market powered by the people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by the play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with stacks of papers. Emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now is in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face, with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time again. You get free ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. It should be a lot of fun. And if you're playing against me, you know you're going to beat me, because as much as I know about college sports, I am terrible with my brackets. And you could then brag that, hey, I kicked AJ's butt. Well, right now you can use March to get your first month free. Head to Locked On Boston College supercast.com right now. Again, that's lockedonbostoncollege.supercast.com and join up today. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here, and we are getting into the Earl Grant potential replacements. For weeks, I had someone in our subtext say to me, "Congratulations, AJ, you got it. Your campaign against Earl Grant got him fired." And I had to laugh, because like my goal was not to get Earl Grant fired. My job was to lay out the facts. And the facts have said that BC, I mean, nothing is going right. And something had to change. And as as much as like you love to see them beat the Notre Dames, but you see that, but then you see them losing to Dartmouth, you see them losing to UNH and Maine and in Central Connecticut and Albany, and you're like, what are we doing here? What is going to happen to fix this? So you got to think of a new coach. You need to get somebody else in here, because Earl Grant he just wasn't working. And no one, just like with Jeff Hafley, for an extent, you needed to get some fresh blood in here. And this gives Boston College a perfect opportunity to hit the refresh and reset button and hopefully find someone who can work within the confines of what they have. Now, NIL definitely needs to improve. The money that they are paying players, it needs to go up. But you need a good coach. Those end of the game situations that Earl Grant seemed to never be able to figure out needs to improve. His inability to figure out a lineup that worked correctly needs to improve. His ability to get transfers in here needs to improve. So you need a coach in here who can do that. Now, I have been crowing that the big key for BC is to bring in a coach that can win. I mentioned Joe Gallo on yesterday's show. Go back and listen to it. It's in the Earl Grant's Fired episode. I just talked about Matt Langel, another guy who wins consistently. Now, I am not into going into the Ivy League. I honestly don't think Tommy Amaker, who has been a coaching candidate for BC the last two searches, is a name I honestly am all that interested in this time, because Harvard hasn't really been all that good for about 5 years. So he kind of seems like his steam has rolled out. And then part of the reason is Harvard has been kind of getting their they've been getting their lunch served to them by their buddies at Yale. And that would be head coach James Jones. James Jones has been at Yale forever. He has been there since 1999, which was when I was still in high school. So he's older. He's 62, 63, but I put him on here as an outside the box pick because maybe the next coach doesn't need to be someone that you're expecting to be here for 20 years. Maybe the next coach that comes in and wins for 3 or 4 years and just gets Boston College back on the map, gets them going in the right direction. They can retire and they can pick another coach who then would want to come here, and you get that momentum going again. So I look at James Jones, again, the same thing that we just talked about with Langel. Here's his last 8 years. Yale's about to win I believe is about to win the Ivy League again. They're going to make the tournament. Last year, won the Ivy League, made the tournament. The year before, came in second, made the NCAAs, won a game. The year before that, NIT. Year before that, the tournament. COVID, made the tournament in 2018, and then he made it in 2015 as well. So he has just been racking up wins there with the Bulldogs. And that's the kind of coach you want. You want a coach that can win. Like, I mean, look at that. This is a guy that knows how to win. Like, it took some time for him to get there, but he's an older coach. He's experienced. Again, he's coaching in Connecticut. He's originally he went to school at Albany. He's from Long Island, and so maybe he's the kind of coach that you want. He's got 8 Ivy League regular season championships since 1999, 4 Ivy League tournament championships, 4-time Ivy League Coach of the Year. He's done it all. So is he the sexiest pick you're going to get? No. But does he hit those points that you want? Yes. So here's what I think you could do with him. You could bring in a James Jones, have him, basically start to win. That, like, you're bringing him in to win. If he starts to win, I would imagine he'd probably retire about 65, 66, keep him around for 3 or 4 years. You've then have the goal being to leave Boston College better than you left it. Because you look at Earl Grant, you look at Jim Christian and Steve Donahue. Could you argue that any of those guys left BC in better shape than they left it when they came in? No, they're all in worse shape. Grant maybe a little bit, but still it's not enough. It's so bad. Jones, maybe you could get the program heading in the right direction. Maybe he could be the kind of guy that all those 1-score games and all those games where, BC is down the stretch and they are, trying to just put a team away and then, of course, not able to do it. Maybe a James Jones is the kind of coach that can do that. So Yale is they're playing Cornell in the Ivy League championship right now. You talk about offense. I mentioned Langel being kind of slow on offense. Oh, I mean, a little bit slower. Yale averages 82 points a game. I would kill for that. I would love to have 82 points per game. They're 71st in the country, 88th in assists, which was a mess for BC at times this year. Defense, even better, 70 points allowed per game. Tough team, good offense. Seems to hit a lot of boxes, but he's not the typical guy. And I imagine, and the other thing you could think of why this could be outside the box too, is you could probably get him in here relatively cheap. And why does that matter? Why should we talk about cheap coaches? Because if BC does that and then uses the extra money to pay for the roster, not a bad idea. Like, if you can get a good coach cheap, and I don't think Joe Gallo's going to be that expensive either. Get these coaches cheap. As long as BC isn't pocketing the money, which I worry that they will, but if they put it into the program, that's not a bad idea, because then you could go out in the portal and have these good coaches, get good players, and they're going to be in good shape. So instead of going out there and spending for an Ed Cooley or Bobby Hurley or even a Richard Pitino, like guys that are going to cost you more, you get these coaches that can win, they're from the area, and if you use that money to improve your roster, that's great. Like, I'm just spitballing right now. We don't know what the portal is going to look like in terms of players leaving, but I have to imagine Donald Hand, who I believe I would bet money is making the most out of anyone on that team. If he enters the portal, that's going to give you a whole lot of money to spend with a brand new coach. If you, again, have that money, the coach is a little less expensive, we don't know what's going to go on with Fred Payne. Like, the money could be there. And if BC just ups it a little bit, there's a chance they could put together a competitive roster that's something that you haven't seen yet at Boston College. They're going to have to do that, though. They can't just say they're going to do it. They need to do it. So James Jones is interesting. And honestly, what's interesting, too, is his brother is the head coach at BU, who coached with Joe Jones, who I had on my hot board. He's a little younger, I think, 60, and he was an assistant under Al Skinner. So he's another name. I mean, BU just made the tournament, so he's a name you could hear about, but the winning is definitely not the same. He's barely a 500 coach, and literally the BU Jones, Joe Jones, is literally like in the same ballpark as Earl Grant and Jim Christian, in my opinion. Like, doesn't win consistently, has a few tournaments in there here and there. I don't think he's a good fit. Now, in our final sense, speaking of not being a good fit, Let's talk about Jared Dudley and why I'm going to have a controversial take on him that many of you are probably not going to agree with, but I'll explain why in just a moment. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to watch how you see the slate playing out. You can build any college hoop parlay you want with rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your needs. You can also apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payoff. So go safe, go bold, ride the teams you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. I love the fruity rainbow. When I'm up late recording, when I'm doing extra work, especially with coaching searches going on, I need something that's going to give me a boost. And fruity rainbow has a fruity candy taste to it. No sugar, but a really good boost. I love it. And I would recommend it to all of you. So find your favorite flavor of 5-hour energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or at Amazon. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here of Eagle Insider. If you're looking for a second listen, check out Locked On ACC. They're talking college carousel, coaching carousel. They're talking the ACC tournament. They got a lot going on. Kenton Gibbs and Alex Dono, they got you covered. Check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I knew once that Earl Grant was going to be fired, there's going to be a name that a lot of BC fans are going to bring up. And he's a connection to a day of days yore. And folks have been asking for him to be the head coach for the last, I would say the last two coaching searches. Last one more so. And that's Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley was a forward for BC up until I think 2006. He then played for the Suns. He played in different various NBA teams. Then he went on and he coached for the Dallas Mavericks. Now he's with the Denver Nuggets, and his name comes up all the time. And why do people bring him up? And they have good reason to. One of the big issues with BC basketball is there's no interest in it. No one cares. I've said this before that you have a few groups of diehards out there, and then students aren't interested, fans aren't interested. The arena is dead. A guy that represents everything that went right with your basketball program is an attractive option for many people. They think they can see a guy that's coached in the NBA, is connected, would come to BC and immediately, build up some interest in the program. But I'm here to say, I love Jared Dudley. I was there when he was a player. Okay. I was there, but I do not think Jared Dudley is the answer. And I'll explain why. What is the one thing that I have said throughout this show is a big thing for BC that they need? They need someone who's been an experienced coaching winner. Jared Dudley doesn't have that. He's missing quite a few things. And in fact, he has not coached at all. And remember the learning curve that Jeff Hafley had? Do you want that again? Could happen. It's kind of the same thing, right? Also, he has never coached at the college level. Okay. I get it. He's really liked by BC, but he's never recruited. He's never put together a program. There's something about that missing piece that doesn't make sense to me. Like, Jeff Goodman had a great tweet about this earlier today, and he just listed over and over all the players that basically have done this, and it hasn't worked. And I thought to myself, yeah, here's the list. I'm going to read you all the players He says the list of former NBA players, coaches that hasn't been able to get it done in college is long. Here are some. I'm just going to list them. Penny Hardaway, Juwan Howard, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullen, Jerry Stackhouse, Eddie Jordan, Mike Woodson, Avery Johnson, Mark Price, Isaiah Thomas, Mike Dunleavy, Terry Porter, Danielle Marshall, Corliss Williamson, Clement Johnson, Michael Curry, Walter McCarty, Danny Manning, Aaron Mackay, Lindsey Hunter, and Juan Dixon. Like, actually, I don't even think he had Kenny Payne on there. Kenny Payne's another one. Like, that was a big one too. Like, it doesn't work. The odds are so stacked against you. And for the folks that are going to say, "Oh, AJ, he's a former NBA coach. Recruiting is going to be easy." Look, guys, he hasn't played. He didn't play college. He's been out for 20 years. Kids don't know who he is. He was a fringe bench. I mean, he was a bench player in the NBA. Like, he's not going to light the world on fire because he's Jared Dudley. I love Jared Dudley, but that's not the case with kids these days. You're talking to 17-year-olds. They were born in 2009. They don't know much about Jared Dudley, and why would they care? It cares to you as the fan, but to the player, the kids out there that you're recruiting, and even the transfers, I don't think any of them would care. So I totally don't buy into any of that. I think the one thing he would do is bring in a lot of money right off the bat. And maybe that would be enough to go out there and get transfers. But then I just listed all those guys like Kenny Payne. He came to Louisville during the NIL and he did nothing. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So the other piece that I think is important to say is I don't think I'm pretty connected. I haven't heard anything specifically, but the buzz I've heard is that I don't think he's even interested in BC. I think he wants to try to stay and get an NBA job, which he's wise to do. The life of an NBA coach versus the life of a college basketball coach are very different. So maybe he's just going to wait. And honestly, that would be the best thing for both. I don't think he should be an option for BC. And you guys can hate on me for it, but I don't want to see him at Boston College. I just don't think it's the right fit. All right. Tomorrow's show, we're going to preview some more potential names to watch for. And it's time to get into spring football practice. We'll talk about that. We're going to get into Greg Brown too. And should he be on the hot seat? We'll get into that as well. Thank you all for listening. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check me out on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on TikTok, or where, all social media, I'm out there. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before you head out. You're going to get a lot of Boston College content from an expert who knows everything about the programs. My name's AJ Black. I'll see you all again soon for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.